This news update is brought to you by
This is the 7 a.m. Barbados Today update for Tuesday, June the 24th, 2014. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Good morning. A controversial political scientist wants Opposition Leader Mia Mottley to resign. Dr. Tennyson Joseph is saying Mottley should quit as leader of the Barbados Labour Party. Dr. Joseph, a lecturer at the University of the West Indies Cayfield campus, tells Barbados Today that she should settle for being an ordinary member of the BLP until after the next general election, given that her leadership is constantly being compromised by former Prime Minister Owen Arthur. He says, too, that the opposition leader doesn't appear to enjoy the full backing of her party more than a year after it lost the general election to the Democratic Labour Party.
You have a former Prime Minister who's had a track record of leading the country in periods of difficulty. I would have stepped down and allowed the party to make its decision on its leadership. But I would also continue in a very ordinary profile in the party. And there's another election to come. That election will be decisive. In other words, let's assume that Mr. Arthur would have assumed the leadership. He would have to face a third election. You understand what I mean? And I would expect after that the party, whatever the outcome, the party learns something from the result of that election.
Local tourism authorities are reporting a significant increase in visitor arrivals from this country's main tourist market. In making the disclosure yesterday, acting president of the Barbados Tourism Authority, Petra Roach, put the increase in arrivals from the UK at 9% when compared to the same period last year.
I think that it's always very important to look into the reasons that numbers are up or down. And certainly, having just come back from North America and having conversations with the airlines that are there, whilst it is that we've had load factors that are in their 90s and yields which are quite significant, it is a challenge that we've had 13,000 seats less than last year, so therefore the reflection would be that you have a negative figure. However, the airlines consistently out of North America are very pleased with the performance, and I guess it's against that backdrop that we can create strong business cases for additional lift.
Roach said that with the resumption of Delta Airlines service to Barbados this December, arrivals out of the U.S. market for 2015 will be 14,000 more than for this year. 2014, she said, will also see a projected change of minus 2.1%, followed by an 8% growth next year.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
Get your sun power.
In regional news now, the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture and the Caribbean Tourism Organization have signed an agreement aimed at strengthening ties between the two sectors and increasing the involvement of Caribbean producers in the region's tourism industry. The organizations will endeavor to strengthen the political and institutional frameworks of Caribbean agriculture and tourism in order to facilitate commercial and investment partnerships and increase the sharing of information, success stories, and good business practices. According to the agreement, the types of tourism in which agriculture and rural areas could play a bigger role are those related to the region's agroecology, cuisine, culture, and heritage, as well as activities involving rural communities and health and well-being. On the international front, Sunni rebels in Iraq say they have fully captured the country's main oil refinery at Baiji, north of Baghdad, the capital. The refinery had been under siege for 10 days, with the militant offensive being repulsed several times. The complex supplies a third of Iraq's refined fuel, and the battle has already led to petrol rationing. Earlier, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry vowed intense and sustained support for Iraq after meeting key politicians in the capital, Baghdad.
The support will be intense, sustained, and if Iraq's leaders take the necessary steps to bring the country together, it will be effective. It will allow Iraqi security forces to confront ISIL more effectively and in a way that respects Iraq's sovereignty while also respecting America's and the region's vital interests.
That's been the 7 a.m. update. Join us again at noon, but until then, log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper, and like us on Facebook to get more news and sports. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a great day.
This news update is brought to you by